which brings us to overtime, a very special overtime. Our friends at the PLL. I'm rocking my son Mateo's Denver Outlaws jersey right now, Ben. This was a Christmas present from a few years ago. You know my son Mateo, aka Sharky. He can be a tough nut to crack. I had to sort of bribe him to get him to let me wear this, and I'll tell you, he loves this jersey because I'm going to be completely honest. It's a little ripe right now because it is so comfy and it's breathable and it's it's a cool ass jersey. That we need to watch this jersey after I after I wear it for the rest of this segment. But look, we're here in Baltimore. I've been around lacrosse my whole life. This is a Will Haas jersey. Will Haas doesn't play for Denver anymore. He retired, but he is the head lacrosse coach at Loyola Blakefield, where I went, where my boys went, where my wife teaches. He is the middle school guidance counselor, and that's how my son knows him. He also lives 3 blocks from me. We are in the cradle of lacrosse. There's a lot of guys in the PLL who played at my high school or rival high schools for Ben. And lacrosse is it's hard to grow up around here and not be around lacrosse. No guys who played professionally, what have you. So we are going to be setting the table for PLL games. It's going to be on Wednesdays moving forward. Ben and I have done the work. There's 4 games this weekend. They're right in our backyard at Homewood Field. If you're in Baltimore, get a ticket. Go down there. You may see me. And Beltway Ben, we're going to get it started with the first match. Oh, well, we're going to get started with Denver and Utah. So this game is on Sunday. It'll be part of the Sunday doubleheader Saturday, doubleheader Sunday. This is how I broke this game down, Ben. I'm going to go under the 21.5 goals here. And this actually is an official play for me. So I'm going to put out my lax helmet that doesn't quite fit my fat head. We've got props. We're playing this on the under. I have bet this at minus 115. Look, Utah's the best defense in the league. They're 3-0 to the under. My Outlaws are 2-1 to the under. Archer's games are averaging just 18 goals. Again, number 1 defense in the PLL. They're allowing just 9 goals a game. Next closest team is allowing 11. So that's a huge difference. Number 2 in save percentage are the Archers. Outlaws games are averaging just 21 goals, so that's slightly under this. They're allowing just 11 a game. So these are 2 teams, right? 2 defensive-minded teams together. It's not that different than any other sport if you're new to lacrosse. Like, that's a trend I'm going to lean into. Like, the Outlaws have only scored 9 goals in 2 of their 3 games. Utah's keeper, Brett Dobson, number 2 in the league in save percentage. And Denver is an inefficient offense. Right, they're number 2 in the league in shots taken, but they're last in the league in scoring percentage. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the quality of the goalie. I'm looking at the trends here, and I'm going under. Anything about this game stand out to you, bud?
Yeah, you talked about the under. I'm on the under as well, but you can get 22.5 at DraftKings.
Okay.
So I went with under 22.5 at DraftKings at minus 120. You talked about it. I mean, Utah's probably the best team in the league here, and it's because of their defense. It's not because of their offense. They have the best scoring defense in the PLL, and these teams combined are 5-1 to the under. And you talked about Utah's goalie, but Denver, Logan McNaney, who Maryland people are familiar with because he was the goalie at Maryland the last few years, won a national championship there. He had 14 saves last weekend, and now he's closing in on Chris Kavanaugh from Notre Dame for the PLL Rookie of the Year, right? Like, he held Philly to 7 goals. That's a team that combined for 30 goals in their first 2 games. This is a Western rivalry. Expect a physical matchup. Yeah. But I do like the under. And like I said, 22.5 on DraftKings where you get it.
Yep. And look, Ben and I did not compare notes.
We did not. We
never compare notes. So hopefully great minds think alike on that one. All right, where are we going next, Beltway?
Yeah, so, we started on Sunday, but that's my mistake. We'll go back to Saturday here now. I'll start here. Like a prop here, and like just kind of what I've seen. Michael Sowers over 1.5 goals at minus 162.
I'm on a different one. But we're simpatico again. Go ahead.
He's over this in just 1 of 3 games this season, but he is due, right? This is year 5 for him now. He's minus 130 to win the MVP. He's been incredible. He's over this in 6 of 10 games last season. They had a lot of scoring from him. He's not a shot chucker. He's actually one of the best passers in the league, maybe the best passer in the league. But he was over this in 1 of 2 games against the Atlas last year. And there is a little bit of a competitive rivalry between him and Jeff Teat. Back-to-back 1 and 2 picks in 2021. That kind of stands out when you want to see a guy maybe put it on a little bit more in a rivalry game here. Again, he's only over this in 1 of 3 games this season, but he is due. He's one of the best players in the league, probably going to win MVP, like I said, at minus 130. Maybe consider betting that now before it gets a little out of hand, but I like him over 1.5 total goals.
Yeah, I'm on Sowers as well. I went over the 4.5 points. I got it at plus 112. Look, he had 15 points in his first 2 games, right? And then he came up against the Archers, and that can be a little tough. We just documented it's the best defensive team in the league. But he's averaging 4.7 assists per game. Okay, small sample size just through 3, but he might get us there on assists alone. The Water Dogs have a diverse offense. They're getting production from all over in the goal department. I like that. You could kind of think of Sowers here as a point guard a little bit, and how many guys, can convert for him when he does make those passes. I also like the Water Dogs on the money line. And I thought about, laying the goals, but like, if you look at the overall trends in the league right now, Dogs are 10-2 against the spread. And if you look at Philadelphia, yeah, they've owned this series, right? Like, they've covered in 8 straight against the Atlas. They've won 6 of those 8 outright. But Philadelphia's coach, 1-6 against the spread as a favorite. Do they call off the Dogs a little bit? Is there a potential for a backdoor cover? I think the Water Dogs are the best team in the league. I think they're going to win this game. But I my lean on this one is, again, Sowers over 4.5 points, and the Water Dogs on the money line just to win this one. What you got next, Ben?
Yeah, we're going to go to the Cannons and Whipsnakes game, and going with the over 23.5 minus 120. I'm guessing maybe you're going to be on it, but both teams are 2-1 to the over this season. It's a homecoming weekend for the Whipsnakes. They combined for 26 goals last year in their 2 homecoming games, so they show up in these games. A lot of local kids who are local guys, which we've talked about. They want to do well in Maryland, and it's going to be a nationally televised game, 7 p.m. on ESPN2. You got to imagine these guys are going to be tuned up. If we can get 13 to 14 goals from them, I'm confident we'll cash the over with the Cannon. Just get us to 11 to 12 from them. So I do like an over here, 23.5 at minus 120.
We are simpatico yet again. I like the over here. You said it. The Whipsnakes are going to put on a show. This is Mesopotamia for lacrosse. We are in the cradle of civilization. It's a homecoming. It's a historic field, one of the most historic places in the lacrosse landscape in this country. I expect them to put on a show, and I expect Boston to have to keep pace and to run and gun as well. Like, Boston's only under once. Take a wild guess who that was against. Yeah, Utah, the Archers. We've documented great goalie, great defense, right? Defense is their hallmark. But I think this is going to be a more wide open game. You look at the Whipsnakes, 28 total goals in each of their first 2 games, and now they get to come home. Whipsnakes lead the league in 2-point goals. That's another way that we could get over here. Think of a 2-point goal as a 3-point shot. And look, there's volume from both these teams, right? These teams are 3rd and 4th in the league in shots attempted per game. So, Beltway Ben, we are simpatico again. Again, not checking notes. This is just us doing our caps. Final game of the weekend, and this is where things get a little tricky in the PLL if you're not familiar with it. So, the Whipsnakes will be playing for the 2nd straight game, and they're going to be playing against Carolina, a Chaos team that's, I don't think, as good as the Whipsnakes. And if we're playing futures here, I would like the Whipsnakes to win the PLL way before I would put anything on the Chaos. However, Carolina is coming off a bye, and so they've got an extreme, like the NFL, they've got an extreme sort of health and rest benefit here. And the Whipsnakes, after playing what we think is going to be a high-scoring, up-tempo game against Boston, have to turn around and play again the next day. How's that worked out for teams in the league? Well, the homecoming team is 0-3 to this point. I mean, that's a shocker. Carolina did beat the Whipsnakes 10-9 last year. And if you look at this series, right, it's 7-2 to the under in their last 9. So, and you're looking at a Chaos team that's number 1 in the league in save percentage. Austin Kaut, their goalie, Google him, K-A-U-T. You could find him scoring goals as a goalie. 71.4% save percentage, best in the league. So how am I going to play this? Much like an NFL game. If you think the total might be low, and if the trends are there, and the underdog is coming off a bye with extreme rest and health advantage, I'm going to take those points, right? So give me the plus 1.5. That's my lean on this game. Do I think the Whip Snakes probably win? Maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and say you got to beat me by 2, given all those factors I just talked about. What about you, Beltway Ben?
Yeah, this is the first one we're gonna go opposite. I'm gonna go with the Whip Snakes on the money line. It says plus 124 in the graphic, but
Well,
it's
we could
minus
both
110.
win. We could both win.
Yes, we absolutely could. And as you said, trends point to a loss for the squad celebrating their homecoming. No team has won the second game of the weekend. All three have won the first one, but no team has gotten swept either, right? Like I said, all the teams won game one. And when you look at that matchup for the Whip Snakes in game one, we kind of touched on it. Like the Boston Cannons looked like they could be undefeated coming out of last weekend. They dropped one, but I do think they're the better team than the Whip Snakes. So I think the Whip Snakes drop the first game, but come back here and win. I know it's physical. Playing 2 days in a row, it's tough, especially playing a night at 7 and then 2 the next day. Not an easy thing, but the Whip Snakes have dominated the Chaos. 7-2 since 2020. And the Chaos, like, I don't think their offense is enough, averaging just 10 goals a game. I'm going to go with the Whip Snakes on the money line at minus 110.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could also look to play this on the under as well, and maybe you want to wait till Sunday. The weather around here has been nuts, but I do think it's supposed to be pretty hot and muggy this weekend. Now, does a storm come through early and cool it off? I don't know. But this might be one, like, personally, I'm going to be, like, waiting a little bit, getting into Sunday. I want to watch that Whip Snakes Cannons game, right? And then I want to see how physical was that game? How up and down was that game? And then, again, if we're talking about the kind of heat and humidity that we can get in downtown Baltimore, playing on an AstroTurf field in the middle of Baltimore City, might be a day for the under as well. Maybe the Whip Snakes just, try to cut the pace a little bit and win a low-scoring match.